Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
The phone buzzed again. For the fourth time in 10 minutes, it lit up and skittered slightly across my rickety kitchen table like it was trying to crawl away. I didn't have to look. I knew the names already. Mom, Dad, Grayson. The same trio, looping like a cursed playlist I'd tried to delete 7 months ago. I didn't answer. I hadn't answered in months. I remember the last thing Mom screamed before I left. "You ungrateful brat. Get out and don't come back." I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I walked out without so much as slamming the door. Not because I was noble, but because I was exhausted. My breath had been spent on years of explanations, apologies, and attempts to matter. That night, I packed a suitcase with 3 outfits, my CPA study guide, and the teddy bear Dad once gave me, back when I thought he loved me. Now I lived in a modest rental in southern Orlando. Paint peeled in the hallway. My ceiling fan creaked like it had secrets. But it was mine. No one barged in demanding rent. No one rolled their eyes when I said I was tired. And yet, the past refused to stay gone. The phone buzzed again. A message preview flickered. "Miley, if you care about this family, even a little, pick up. Grayson is overwhelmed." I scoffed under my breath. Grayson, overwhelmed? The boy who had never held a job longer than 2 weeks, who had a new gaming console every year, who once called me crying because his car battery died in the driveway. I used to pick up that call. Used to drop everything, leave the office, wire money, offer solutions. And they never once said thank you. Not even when I skipped my own dentist appointment to cover Dad's medication. A voice message came next. Mom's voice, sugar-laced and urgent. "Miley, sweetheart, just call me back. We need you." I pressed my lips together and turned the phone face down. The buzzing didn't stop. But this time, it didn't control me. I stood, walked to the window, and stared out at the sliver of sun carving gold into my tiny balcony. They could scream, beg, or blame. But I was no longer theirs to summon. And deep down, I knew they hadn't called to check on me. They called because once again they needed saving. Each morning began with the same ritual. Coffee brewed in silence, shoes slipped on with a sigh, and a glance at the spreadsheet taped beside the fridge. Rent, groceries, internet, savings. Not a single line item for family anymore. In the office, I wore heels that pinched and a blazer I could barely afford when I first got the job. 60 hours a week at Brighter Path Insurance. Meetings, numbers, clients, deadlines. Everyone called me dependable, professional, efficient. But at home, I still felt like a ghost. I used to be more than dependable, I was essential. I filled every crack in my family's life, plugging holes with my time, my money, my sleep. Mom called me her rock, but she meant doormat. Grayson, on the other hand, was her angel. That boy could burn toast and still get a standing ovation. One night, after a 13-hour shift, I called home just to share some good news. "Hey," I said. "I got promoted. Full salary increase, benefits, even a corner cubicle." Dad grunted. "Make sure your insurance payments are up to date." "No congratulations. No, we're proud of you. Just another reminder that I existed to carry weight, not joy." Meanwhile, Grayson posted a picture of his latest accomplishment. A weekend woodworking class, and Mom commented, "So proud of our hardworking boy." Hardworking? He once claimed anxiety from too many emails after applying for 2 jobs in 1 week. But I wasn't bitter. Not then. I was tired. I remember lying on the couch one Friday night, still in my work clothes, eating crackers for dinner. I scrolled through old photos. Birthdays where Grayson blew out the candles, family trips where I held the camera, never in the frame. Had I ever truly been seen? In my apartment, no one called me selfish for resting. No one shoved bills in my hand or guilt behind their eyes. Still, some nights I looked at the phone longer than I should have, waiting. Maybe for Mom's apology, or Dad's recognition, or Grayson's guilt. But ghosts don't haunt themselves. And shadows don't cast light, they only follow it. I opened the file by habit. It was labeled Home Expenses 2025 /. Innocent enough, but it wasn't a budget. It was a graveyard. Row after row, line after line, I had documented every dollar I'd sent home over those final 18 months. Electric bill in February, Grayson's car repairs in April, Dad's prescription refill in June, rent, groceries, internet, surprise vet bills for Mom's cat, $14,386.72 in total. I blinked, then stared. It wasn't the number that broke me, it was the memory behind each transaction. Just until we get back on our feet, Mom had said. You're the only one who can help, sweetie. I was 25, working 2 jobs, studying late nights for my financial analyst certification. I didn't blink when I transferred $200 for the water bill, or $400 when Grayson lost another job. I didn't even hesitate when I drained my emergency fund so the house wouldn't fall into default. But what gutted me now, alone in my dim apartment with the hum of the AC as my only witness, wasn't the money. It was the lie I'd been sold, that love meant sacrifice. That silence was maturity. That keeping score was selfish. That afternoon, I printed the spreadsheet. I needed to see it, feel the weight. Later, I drove across town and stepped into that familiar, suffocating house. Grayson was lunging on the couch, controller in hand. Dad was asleep in the recliner. Mom was in the kitchen. I placed the paper on the counter. This is everything I gave, I said, voice steady. Every month, every dollar. Grayson barely looked up. You want a medal or something? Mom didn't read it. She just sighed. You're being dramatic again, Miley. I stood there stunned. They didn't care. Not about the money. Not about the effort. Not about me. Something cold settled in my chest. I left without another word, because what else could I say? Love shouldn't feel like bankruptcy. The first letter came in a yellow envelope marked urgent, addressed to me, but forwarded from my old home. I opened it, heart pounding. Final notice FORTLOCUREPROCEDNGS. I read it again and again. But I had made the mortgage payments. $1,250 each month, transferred directly to Mom's account. She swore they were being paid. Swore. I grabbed my coat and drove. South Orlando heat pressed against the windshield, but the chill in my chest grew heavier. The house came into view, peeling paint, unmowed lawn, a trash can tipped over on the curb. Mom answered the door with a smirk. Back already? She said, wiping her hands on a towel. Why is the house in foreclosure? I didn't bother with pleasantries. Her smile faltered. We've been behind. Times are hard. Hard? I snapped, holding up the letter. I sent every payment, every single month. Grayson appeared behind her, munching on chips. Oh great. The martyr returns. Where did the money go, Mom? She shrugged. There were other needs. Grayson needed help. The car broke down. The AC. So you lied, I whispered. You used the mortgage money, and didn't even tell me? Grayson scoffed. You act like it's all your responsibility. Maybe you should have checked in more often if you cared so much. The audacity hit like a slap. I stared at them. These people who took and took, who wore my exhaustion like a blanket, who turned my help into expectation and my silence into consent. Something inside me cracked. I pulled out my phone, fingers trembling, and blocked each of their numbers. Mom, Dad, Grayson, all of them. Then I sent one final message. I'm not your backup plan anymore. I stepped off that porch and didn't look back. Not once. The house behind me wasn't home. It never had been. It was a monument to every lie they told, and every truth I refused to see. The silence was foreign at first, like standing in a room after a storm, unsure if the wind might howl again. I no longer woke to frantic calls or guilt-laced texts. My days belonged to me. I brewed coffee slowly, read books without glancing at my phone. For the first time in years, peace wasn't a stranger. One morning, I sat on my apartment balcony, watching the sun slip over Orlando's skyline, a gentle gold washing over rooftops. My phone buzzed, a single message from an unknown number. The house is gone. I hope you're happy. Grayson. I stared at it, then deleted it. No anger. No reply. Later that week, I met with a realtor. I'd been saving again, this time for something of my own. Earned, not owed. The woman smiled, handing me a brochure. You'd be surprised how far you've come. I smiled back. No, I wouldn't. As I walked away, brochure in hand and the sun on my shoulders, I realized I hadn't just left a house. I had left behind a version of myself that only existed in service to others. And now I was building something new on my own terms.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.